Okay, abstract. Please just repeat yourself so I don't have to scroll up. What do you need here? We're gonna test it finally. Let me move all the unrelated items out of the way. Okay, grab shield. Shield has been grabbed. Jump over the bomb bag. The bomb bag jumps over me. Okay. Now what? Push to wall. Just like run at the wall or do it slowly? No. I'm going to keep guessing the order of the entities until I do the thing that you want me to. Is this your card? Bomb bag same side as shopkeeper. Is this your card? Get him to face left. There we go. Excellent. What do you want me to do now? Run right. Alright, he's dead. Bomb bag hasn't quite gotten crushed yet. Where is the bomb bag? I see the sprite, it's still in there. There it is. Okay, so the bomb bag is still there. It hasn't quite gotten crushed. Next frame. The bomb bag just got destroyed on this frame, so it should spawn 3 explosion entities now. There they are. So that's all 3 explosion entities. Or rather, it spawns bombs, I think, that immediately blow up on the next frame is how it does it. Something like that. What was... Okay, so, wait a minute, what was supposed to happen? That looked normal. I crushed a bomb bag. It spawned the three like, bombs that cascade out for, like, 1 frame and then detonate. This looks like a normal bomb bag explosion. Bomb bags, I think, do 31 damage to the player, I think, if you get hit by all 3 explosions. Because you already have fire damage from the first one. Okay, well, let's do a control test here. We're gonna crush a bomb bag. You think it does 11 damage? I doubt you get hit by all 3. Let's find out. Let's do a controlled test here. I don't know if the shopkeeper has anything to do with what we're observing here. Here's a bomb bag. I'm gonna just crush this into the bedrock and let's just watch what happens. So it just exploded. It probably already spawned the bomb entities. I don't know if the finder can find them. No, it can't yet. Maybe the next frame. Okay, so there they are. You could actually see them for a split second here when you have the frame advanced. So it just spawned the 3 bomb entities. And then on the next frame, let's see what happens. So one of them detonated immediately. You can see the other 2 here are getting like sent to the side a little bit. This one's actually getting crushed into the wall. Yeah, so one of them blew up. Frame, frame, frame. The second one just blew up. Or wait, I think I missed an audio cue. It looks like they all blew up. It's hard to tell because the red ring for the bombs is also the sprite for the explosions. What's the consensus on the machete clip? All right, we'll come back to the bomb thing. Let me just recap that really, really quickly. Machete. If you do this on the back wall of the shop for any reason, it is out of bounds for a sub frame, and the shopkeeper gets mad. Because in the middle of the frame, the machete is out of bounds, the shopkeeper checks the origin point of the machete, gets mad at you, and then it teleports back into your hands at the end of the frame. That's why that happens. Back to the bombs. That's the recap. Alright, so that third one blowing away is unintuitive. Your question is answered. The bomb bag even having 3 explosions. Yeah, that's always been how bomb bags work. We could show like a more sensible bomb bag explosion if I just put one here and set it off with like a fireball or something. Or Or bomb bags could be immune to fireballs. Because, oh, never mind. Nope, that one worked. I don't know why it took 3 fireballs. No, I just had to launch the fireball at the bombs and it worked that time. This fucking game. But yeah, this is how this works. Bomb boxes spawn 3 power bombs instead of 3 normal bombs. That's what a bomb box explosion does. So let's analyze the bombs that it spawns in, because I am kind of curious now. So if I do this, spawn another fireball. Yep. Oh, you know what happened? I think the bomb egg had like spawn iframes, and that's why it didn't blow up. Let me wait a second. Or the fireball's just dying instantly, or both of those things. Alright, here we are. So it spawns 3 bombs. What are their IDs? 45, 6, and 7. Or, wait, no. Hold on. There are 46, 47, and 48. I don't know if idle counter is shown on this. No, it's not. Okay, let's go get this back up. Alright, toolbox. I think I turned this off at some point. Oh, it's not going to show up until 1 frame later. Well, that's okay. I think we can make this work. We need the entity tester. What was the bomb ID? It's 39. Alright. Alright, there's our bomb. So the thing that causes bombs to explode is idle counter. When idle counter reaches 150, the bomb blows up. So the first bomb already exploded, I think. Yeah, we could actually see that happen. So the first bomb already exploded. The second bomb that the game spawned in is going to blow up in 3 frames. And the third bomb is going to blow up in 4 frames. Yeah, yep, those look like the exact numbers that we had here. So they cascade. Each of them will like move an additional frame. So let me do that with a fresh bomb bag while I have the mod up and running, so we can see this properly. I think a bullet will probably work better. I think a bullet will damage this even if I don't do anything. There we go. Okay. So the bullet ID is 4018. It's gonna be like 4019 or something, I think is gonna be the explosion. Oh, I was right. Yeah, you can actually see them already. I guess, Drago, this is a question for you, or like, why is the finder unable to find entities that just spawned in the current frame? Does this have to do with like the data structure that the game is using to store like end of frame entities that haven't like actually materialized yet in the level? Because they exist. It looks like it already reserved the IDs for these bombs, and my thing is able to pick them off with get entity, but they don't actually exist in the finder. It doesn't know that they're there yet. Is that like a technical issue with how Spelunky stores these, or is that something the finder should be able to also do? Because I've noticed that before. I think it's the same thing with the whip. If you whip, like with the player, the whip actually won't be able to be detected by the finder until the next frame, but the whip entity exists on the frame that you press the button, like at the end of that particular frame. I'm just curious about that, if that's like a weird edge case that can be fixed or not in the finder. But anyways, the bombs exist, so we can see how they got spawned in here. So this one is going to blow up on the next frame immediately. The bomb after that has an idle counter of 0, but what's going to happen is it's going to get hit. So it doesn't look like it's actually 4, 3, 2. It looks like it spawns 3 bombs, one of which is primed to detonate immediately, and then the other 2 are programmed to go off when they get hit by the first bomb. So let's advance 1 frame. So that bomb exploded on the frame after it spawned in. So this entity is going to disappear now. Bomb number 2, let me make this taller. Let's see, idle counter. Yeah, okay, this is tall enough. So bomb number 2 has an idle counter of 1, and bomb number 3 also has an idle counter of 1. They have not been hit by the explosion yet. Okay, I got an answer to my question. Adds entities to the layer before the update. Finder uses the data structure, but there could be an option to do an expensive search that finds things that are not yet in the optimized data structure. Okay, so you're saying get entity, like, uses a different data structure from like the search feature. Because I know that there's like a couple ways to search entities. I've looked a little bit into how Overlunky like stores the data structures for the entities, and I know there's like a couple ways to get them out of the game engine. And you're saying Finder's using an efficient one. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have a checkbox. I was just curious why it's like that. Chat is in the way, thank you. I always forget about that. Let me move this to the left. Yeah, I always forget about the chat because I don't see it over my own game. It's not quite in the way of the idle counter, but let's move it over here anyways. We don't need the task thing for the moment. So anyways, that answers my question about that. So up to you if you want to add a checkbox for that. I was just curious why that was happening. I figured it was something to do with the optimized data structure. So, frame by frame, what is happening with these bombs? It spawns 3 bombs. One of the bombs is primed to explode instantly. So the bomb gets generated on that frame, and then on the next frame, the bomb explodes and initializes an explosion entity, which we can see here. This is the explosion that just got generated by that bomb. On the next frame, this explosion is going to hit these 2 bombs here. And now they have their idle counters primed, and this is how bomb cascades work. So this bomb got hit, and it has its idle counter set to 147. This one had its idle counter set to 146, and I don't know exactly why this happens, or if this is like a mechanic of the explosion where it gives them different idle counters. Like maybe each successive bomb hit by an explosion maybe gets a slightly lower idle counter, and 150 is when these are going to blow up. So I'm actually going to test that. This is going to be like a bomb box, like cascading like science segment. That's what we're going to be testing here, because I've always wondered about this. So we're going to actually learn how bomb cascading works now, like in detail. But my theory is that the first bomb's explosion has primed the idle counter on the 2 remaining bombs that were in its range to be really close to detonating, because they will detonate at 150. The pause PR addresses spawning entities manually, but the game doesn't. Probably make search using expensive function. Not much happening then anyways. As long as it behaves in a consistent way, what I wouldn't want the search function to do is, or rather what I wouldn't want the, no yeah, what I wouldn't want the search function to do is do something like weirdly unexpected if you're paused versus not paused. So like if it's just, I guess it doesn't really matter if you have the UI up. Let me articulate what I'm saying before I give you feedback, because I'm making no sense right now. Hold on. The pause PR addresses spawning entities manually. The game doesn't. Okay, so the pause, well, maybe that's where I was confused then. What is different about spawning entities while paused versus not paused in that PR? And would that ever result in a situation where an entity that you created was different in some way, not initialized correctly by the game engine? That's what I was worried about, not the search function. The search makes perfect sense to use the expensive version while paused. But I'm just wondering if like spawning entities is going to behave any differently. The question led to something. That's why we do these streams. Because you never know when like even an asinine question like crushing a bomb bag against a wall will lead to something interesting. I didn't actually know how bomb cascading worked here, so I'm quite happy to look into this. So the explosion primed these 2 bombs. What should happen here, this is the reason why 2 of the bombs get a lot of distance when you blow up the bag. They don't get primed to like 149. We have 147 and 146. So if I advance a couple frames here, this bomb I think is going to detonate on the next frame. Neosa with the raid. Hello everybody. Welcome. What were you up to? We are currently learning about bomb cascades and why you should not crush bomb bags and bomb boxes. So welcome. Feel free to fill me in on whatever it is you were doing. If you were playing Spelunky, I hope it wasn't too mean to you, because my god, it was mean to me today. When you often spawn some floors to test, they will be invisible, just decorations. That's what you fixed. Okay, but you don't think that's going to like functionally affect anything? It's just like weird edge case stuff. Like again, I'm just trying to make sure that the entity by the start of the next frame is functionally identical whether or not you're paused, because otherwise I could see that causing issues. If like the first frame behavior of the entity was weird for some reason. But I'll trust you to test that, because I don't entirely know what all is involved in spawning entities. Does it do 31 or 33? We'll test that in a bit. And then we'll go back. We'll test that in a moment, actually. Let me finish this particular simulation, then we'll test how much damage. You died on 1-3 on the daily. Well, that's further than I got. I didn't even play the daily. I think somebody suggested I do that, and I just didn't feel like it. No, I just threw, like, every jetpack run that I got today. That's how I spent my day. Alright, so anyways, what we're looking at here is a bomb bag explosion, just to fill everyone in. One of the bombs exploded, and the other two that fly out of the bomb bag, in case you didn't know, bomb bags do spawn bombs when you crush them, and then those blow up. The bomb bag doesn't explode on its own. One of these should explode on the next frame. I can turn off the finder now, we don't need that. Just clear all that. There we go. So this bomb right here just exploded. This is bomb number 2. This bomb has not detonated yet. 1 frame later, bomb number 3 is going to explode. And there it goes. What's interesting, actually, about this last explosion here is bomb number 3 had its idle counter set back to 147, and I think that explains why bombs cascade like every 3 frames instead of every 1 frame. I think a bomb that is like at 149 will actually get set back to 147. But the thing is, I think the bomb processed that it was going to explode before the explosion set its idle counter back to 147. So it detonates and it disappears. So basically this was NDID jank that causes this to happen. But we saw it here. The first bomb went off there. It knocked the other 2 bombs over to the side, and then they exploded 1 frame after the other. Let's quickly check and see how much damage this will do to me to answer that question before I forget. I can just give myself health. I don't need the elixir. E.health equals 99. Alright, we have 99 health. So we're going to do like basically the worst case scenario. I am going to crush these with a shield. Let's carefully analyze. I have God mode on. And I thought I had frame advance on, but the menu was up. So let me spawn those again. Also, I angered Yang, so I need to get rid of him now because he's going to be a crybaby about it for some reason. Alright, you go away. Alright, God mode off. Let's go see what happens here. Wouldn't change any mechanics, just how the OL UI finds things. Okay, so that was like a UI thing with the pauses. That's excellent then. That's definitely a good change. Because what Drake is talking about is this here. I just spawned a wood tile. That's not going to show up until 1 frame later. And then the decorations show up after that. And apparently that's going to be fixed. So that's a good quality of life change. As long as it doesn't functionally interfere with how it works. Alright, so watch my health. 99. I do not have God mode on. So this just generated one of the explosions, I think. Let me see if I can find this. I need to make this not move. Wait, why are there so many entities now? Oh, I spawned some stuff. Okay, fine game. I'll check what the IDs were. I'm trying to be lazy here. Oh my god, they're all the way up to 199. That was going to take forever. There we go. Alright, so, what do we got here? We have 1 explosion. Okay, we have 3 bombs, one of which just spawned an explosion. So on the next frame, I should take 11 damage. And I do. We now have 88 health. The first explosion just hit me. These 2 bombs are still in play. And I'm actually going in the same direction as the 2 bombs that have not detonated yet, so I think there's a decent chance that they're going to hit me. This bomb is going to explode. And then the explosion, I think, is going to hit me again. And it did, and it looks like it did another 11 damage, so it might be 33 in total that we take from this. Again, I don't know how that extra 1 damage works and why it sometimes doesn't do anything. Maybe if I was in water it would work differently, so I'll spawn some water after this. Now the last explosion is going to go off. Because this bomb, let's see, yeah, this bomb just spawned an explosion, so the last one is going to hit me on this frame. And in total, we took 33 damage from crushing that bomb bag and getting hit by all 3 bomb explosions. And Peppino is in agony right now. He's stunned for so long from that. Try crushing from the left side. Alright, let's see if they cascade in any consistent way. Set our health back to 99 for consistency. Bomb bag, let me just put this in the hot bar. We're going to be doing this for a while. Alright, same exact thing, but we're running to the right. Alright, first explosion. They actually went to the left this time. I think what's happening here is my shield is actually, like, clipping the bombs behind it. The fact that I'm using a shield, I think, is putting the other 2 bombs behind the shield. And then from there, they get the velocity from the first explosion. And they cascade up to the left. So crushing the bomb bag with a shield is, like, almost guaranteed to just send the bombs into your face. I think there's a little bit of RNG for where they initially spawn, but the shield is going to put them behind it. So crushing it, I think you're pretty much always going to take 33 damage over the course of like 5 game ticks or something. Glorious. It looks very silly. So the question then is, what happens if I don't use a shield? So I'm going to just like stand really close to it and spawn a bullet and just see what happens. And we're also going to do this in water to see if that's any different. And we have 66 health. Yeah, you can see here all 3 bombs kind of get a sort of randomized position. I can probably check what their velocities are. So let's see, 43. Alright, here's our bomb. So let's see, what velocities did they get? They actually don't have any. Huh. So they always go up then. I think it's just where they are relative to the first bomb. Yeah, none of them have velocity. And then the explosion goes off, so that was the first bomb that just basically got deleted. Or am I dumb? Oh, no, never mind, I'm a dumbass. It's velocity down here. I was looking at the wrong thing. This is for player entities. This is what I should have been looking at. But let's see what happened anyway. So this bomb got an upward left velocity. And the other one just got an upward right velocity. So they're just going in opposite directions this time. So there's a chance I'm not going to get hit by both. Yeah, this might be where there's some discrepancy. If anybody has actually like observed how much damage they tank from explosions, you can see what happened here. These 2 bombs went left and right. So I'm only going to get hit by one of them. And then the second one will get me here. And I only took 22 damage from that. Yeah, 6 different damage calls. Interesting. Yeah, so fire damage is a thing. I thought you can't have fire damage reapplied to you once you're already on fire, but maybe some things can? Doesn't... How much damage does Tiamat take from 3 bombs? It's like 30... No, it's like 34 damage, right? Because she gets hit by one of them and then takes the fire damage. Does it, all you wacky pacifist runners out there, Tiamat takes 34 damage from a triple cook, right? She gets hit by one of the bombs and then takes 11 damage from each bomb. So I guess the fire damage actually does get reapplied if you're not immune to fire damage, which is what we're going to test in a moment, because I'm going to spawn some water. Yeah, they effectively always do 11. Let's try that in water and see if they actually effectively always do 11 damage. Spark balls don't reapply it. Yes, of course. That explains a lot. That's why you take less damage if you get juggled by spark traps. Alright, I've got mode back on, so let's spawn some water. Liquid water. Just put a bunch in there so we don't have any issues with it getting splashed out by the metal shield. But I'm actually just going to use bullets because it's less janky. Alright, so same thing as before. We should get hit by at least 2 of these explosions. Let's see what happens. Alright, they get hit. Bombs spawn in. This time I'm going to check the velocity on the bombs because I was looking at the wrong number. 4794. Oh, they do have velocity. Okay, what did they all get? I think it might randomize the velocity as well. Okay, so they all have a small amount of upward velocity. And then, like, a seemingly randomized horizontal one. Huh. There must be, like, an RNG call or something for this, though it's... Then again, these are oddly specific. Like, why this number exactly? Yeah, one of them has the same upward diagonal velocity, up and right. This one is also going up and right, but a little bit less. You know, I wonder if they processed that in the same tick. No, that one doesn't make sense, though. Why are these two right above each other? It's hard to say how exactly these are spawning in. And then the last one here has like a tiny horizontal velocity. And despite them all having the same wide velocity, one of them just spawned in lower than the other ones for some reason. Oh, nice fuse. Okay. Is it supposed to do that? Why is that max int? What is it measuring for the fuse? Or are you just like using 150 as the base for that? I don't think it's supposed to be doing that. We got max unsigned int fuse here. And I think that might be a UI issue. Fuse is not initialized. Well, let's see. That's bomb 4793. That's this one, which is at idle counter 151. So I think you just assumed that the idle counter would never be higher than 151. So you just have an overflow. I'm assuming that's what's going on here because that's not normal. I mean, I could set the value, but I'm pretty confident that's what's going on here. But yeah, apparently you can have a bomb end up in this state when you blow it up like this, because the thing is, normally the bomb will explode on frame 150 and then despawn after that. But the frame from the bomb bag spawns at 150 and then explodes at 151 and then despawns. So I think that's what's going on here. That's why you're seeing that. So that's an edge case, pretty much. Like, the devs could have set it to 149 and had the same effects, but they set it to 150. And it looks the same, but it causes UI issues with Overlunky. So there we go. That's why that's going on, I think. And it looks really silly. Another feature you made but didn't test. Oh, okay, I assume you're gonna keep typing. So let me continue with this till you finish that. So how much damage do I take? Explosion number 1. I have God mode on. Do it again. I can add the bullet to my list as well. Bullet. Spawner 3. Okay, nice and close to it. I want to get hit by 2 bombs at least. Alright. Bag goes off. First explosion just spawned. I forgot again. Chat, there's no salvation for me. God mode off. God mode is off now. Oh, the fuse tooltip was the feature. Okay, well, we tested it. It seems to work. That explains a lot. That was oddly specific. I wasn't sure if that one was for me or not. I do appreciate that. Because you saw me, I assume it's because you saw me struggling to do that when I was like tasking and I had to keep typing in the console constantly what the fuse timer is. I appreciate that. I'll have to pay more attention to that. Though in this case, I can't really use it because I have 3 bombs stacked on top of each other, but that's very useful for 1 bomb. I'm gonna have to pay attention to that. So thank you for adding that. All right, God mode off. Paused. Take like 7. Yeah, the water, well, the water's not moving. This is a shader. Like you could see the water like jiggling around. Like this is a shader effect that just is completely independent of the game engine. So that's what's going on with the water there. It still animates it even while you're paused. I think if you wanted to pause this for some reason, which there's no reason to, I think we would need another feature in Overlunky to specifically like deactivate whatever like timer is being used for this shader effects, but I don't know enough about it to really understand how it works. I don't know like what game timer is being used for this, or if it's like a system timer and we have literally no control over it. I don't know enough about these kinds of shaders to be certain about it. Usually they're a function of time, and I don't know what the timer is for it, other than clearly not something that is being controlled by the game engine here. It could be the render timer. If there was a way to like just straight up stop rendering, then yeah, that would work. If you just straight up like stopped the rendering process. Other than that, there may not be a way to stop the water from doing this. Don't know. Doesn't matter, so I don't think it's worth a ton of time to look into that, but that's why the water is wiggling. I should get hit on this frame. Yep, this is what I was talking about. So bombs do 10 damage and then 1 fire damage, and if you are wet, you don't take the fire damage. Then I get hit by the second one, and I think I tank the third one as well. And we have optimal health. So yeah, bombs do 10 damage if you are in water. The last thing to check is if I'm out of water but wet, because that might have a different mechanical process in this game engine, because nothing is consistent in this game. So we're going to do one more of these. Alright, so with frame advance, I'm going to stick myself right next to the bombs and then blow them up. So I should still have the wet effect, and you can see I still took 10 damage. And then I'm going to get hit by one other bomb, it looks like. And I took 10 more damage. So there you go. Being wet will save you from exactly 1 explosion damage because reasons. The water physics in this game are underwhelming, to say the least. Like I don't know how much development time went into the water mechanics in this game, and ultimately they're just a nuisance at best. Like I really wish they had done more with the mechanic that didn't just make it irritating. I only took 20. Only 2 bombs hit me. What happens here is it varies a little bit. There's a little RNG for whether or not you get hit by more of the bombs, depending on how they cascade. You can see those 2 of them went up and left on that particular one. And since you get a shitload of knockback from the explosion, you might only get hit by 2. Oh, why I only took 20 instead of 22? It's because I was wet. That's the thing I was talking about. If you're in water, or if you have the wet effect on your character, then you take no fire damage. I want to make sure I answered everything. Is this clear? Like, have I explained everything well so far? You take 10 damage if you're wet, and then as for the bomb bag, you're probably going to take either 2 or 3 bombs worth of damage, just depending on where they cascade. That's what I've got so far. The water is an important new thing, but they barely understood the very complicated. Oh, is it third party? Is that what this is? So they didn't make this in-house. You're saying that maybe they just didn't know how to use it correctly? Because that would honestly explain a lot about why it's so just ludicrously inconsistent how the game works in water and lava. How many bombs does it spawn? It spawns 3 power bombs. We'll show that off in a moment. I just want to make sure that I've covered all the basic questions about like how the bomb bag works. I'm curious about the liquid engine now. Alright, so let's try the bomb bag, or the bomb box. So this is stuff that a lot of people probably didn't know, because you don't think much of it. Like, you've got a bomb box like this, and if it gets crushed, it just makes a giant fucking explosion, and you don't really question it. But there's actually like an intricate like game mechanic going on under the covers here, so let's dig into that. So let's start with no water to start with. Let me spawn some bedrock tiles here just so I don't accidentally get water where I don't want it. I hate the fact that you can pull items out of the crust like that. Whatever, I don't care about that water anymore. I'll need that. Alright, so let's do a bomb box test. First of all, let's see how much damage I take from this. Power bombs do 21 damage normally, so I'm expecting that I'm going to get hit by either 2 or I think more likely all 3 power bombs because the range is enormous. So we're going to take 63 damage from this interaction is my prediction. So pause, step a little closer to it to improve the odds of getting hit by them all. First of all, bomb boxes, you know, I was gonna ask that exact question to chat. Chat, how much health do you think bomb boxes have? I'm just curious if anybody wants to take a shot or if you know the answer. I know what the answer is already. Alright, we got 10, 11, 24, 24, 10. Alright, here's your answer. 24. You can barely see it. It's down there in the bottom left. That is the health of a bomb box. It's specifically 24. Bomb bags have, I believe, just 1 health. So this is why they can get shot a few times by a shopkeeper before they'll actually explode. They have 24 health. I don't know why it's 24. I don't know why it's not like 20 or 30 or it's just 24. So they can tank a few hits from a shopkeeper. I don't know how much of this was game balance and how much of this was just, who knows, they just picked a number and rolled with it. But there's a good trivia question for like fucking the Spelunky event. I don't think I was contributing. Did I? No, I didn't sign up for that. And I think somebody else is dealing with the trivia questions this year. But there's a good trivia question for you. How much health does a bomb box have? Just put that one on the list. I hope I'm not involved in that because I don't remember signing up for it. Maybe I did sign up for it. So anyways, we have to destroy this, and it has a lot of health, so I'm going to set it to 1 health so it blows up to a single bullet. And let's see what happens. So this soothing music. So as you can see here, folks, power bombs. That is how they implemented a bomb box explosion. It doesn't spawn 12 bombs, it just spawns 3 power bombs, but otherwise it's like mechanically identical. Yeah, we need to talk about parallel universes. If I could find like an upload of that song that's like twice as long, I'm going to switch to that because unfortunately it was either 30 minutes or 1 minute and 30 seconds and there was like no in between. I'll just set my own up at some point. But anyways, we have 3 power bombs here. Power bombs do 21 damage. First one is going to detonate now. And rather, it just detonated. The explosion is going to hit me now. I took 21 damage. A couple frames later, the next one explodes. It looks like we're only going to get hit by 2 of these. I am in the Trivia Question Writers channel. God damn it. Honestly, I don't remember what I fucking signed up for. I'm already busy with so many things. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to contribute to that. I'll come back. I'll take a look at that at some point before the event here. But I've got a lot going on right now. I'm still interested. You have a few good writers. Honestly, if I don't have to do anything, then I would be totally okay with that. What I can do for trivia is I can like vet the questions after I see like what the final candidates are to make sure that they're actually correct, because there's nothing more embarrassing than having the wrong fucking answer for your trivia. So I will vet the questions like afterward, since I apparently signed up for that in some kind of drunken stupor in the middle of the night and I don't remember doing it, so I'll look at it at some point. But I already got a lot to do. I'm in trivia, give you all the answers. Well, you know what? If the bomb box question comes up, you know the answer to it now, because I spoiled it. I don't even know if that question is going to be on it. I feel like I submitted that to a trivia event at some point in the past. Alright, so anyway, second explosion just hit us, and we just took another 21 damage by the look of things. And the third bomb is going to go off over here, and we don't get hit by that. Get out of there. So there you go. That's exactly what I was expecting. This is the same exact thing as the bomb bag, but with power bombs instead. And just for consistency, we're going to test this in the water as well. So put our health back to 99, spawn a new box. That's not a bomb box. Yep, 20 damage. So it's 20 damage and then 1 fire damage for a power bomb. And we're getting hit by all 3 this time, so that's gonna hurt. Next, and the next one. 60 fucking damage. So there you go, that's how that works. So that is what happens when you blow up a bomb bag or a bomb box. You get 3 bombs, either small or big, and they cascade like maybe like a tile or 2 to either side, like probably about a tile maximum in a sort of random direction. If you crush them with a shield, however, all the bombs will spawn behind you and you're gonna take all that fucking damage immediately. So let me go get my shield. Where is it? Here it is. Come here, babe. I don't care that I'm in the water. It won't affect this. Here's our power bombs. Oh, that's interesting, actually. This might be different. Let me, doing this against bedrock is going to behave differently. So the thing is, the bomb box has a really wide hitbox compared to this for some fucking reason. So it actually looks like the power bombs get crushed by the shield. I wonder, do they blow up instantly then? Let's see what happens. I'm gonna keep holding right. Yeah, they all go off. All three, if you crush a bomb box against bedrock like that, all three bombs go off at the same time. Because you crush the bombs with the shield. But with the bomb bag, they get like zooped behind you. That's interesting and not terribly useful because it's just the same outcome for a different reason. This water out of here. Yeah, you never saw a cascade here. Let's watch it in a normal situation though, with actual terrain behind it. Alright, so this is what this would look like normally, and it's possible there's some like sub-tile positioning that goes into this. Alright, so we just crushed it. We just spawned the bombs. All three of these bombs are stuck on this terrain. I think they get crushed before the tile is destroyed. I mean, you would take 61 damage with no water. You think on the same frame? Well, we're gonna find out, aren't we? No, it did not crush them. So the first one that's primed to blow up immediately just detonated, but these two actually didn't get crushed. They blew up the tile first. So they're gonna go off. No, they did get crushed. They just took a frame. No, they did get crushed. So one explosion goes off, and I think on that same frame, I also crushed the other two bombs, and they spawned their explosion. And then one frame after that, I get hit by both of those explosions at the same time. And we just took 63 damage from that. So we still just took the damage from two bombs on the same frame. And it did not, like, negate the fire damage. Like, I think at this point, it's reasonably safe to say that you could take stacking fire damage from bombs. Like, that seems to be the gist of this. You take stacking fire damage from the bombs. So more help. And we could test that very definitively in a very simple and unprofessional test. We're gonna spawn two bombs that will hit my character but will not hit each other. And I'm gonna use that fuse time that Dregu kindly added for me to frame advance this. Let's see how much damage we take. Two bombs on the same frame. Yep, they both deal the 11 damage. So, yeah, fire damage doesn't negate, like, additional fire damage from bombs. But it does from spark traps, for some reason. We can spawn a spark trap action. I think we can find out in a moment here. Just make sure I get hit by this. Wait for the spark to load in all the way. It doesn't have collision yet. No, actually, we took the 2 damage from the spark trap, too. Maybe it's a different type of damage. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. I just took 1 damage from the spark trap, but the first hit, even though I was very much on fire, dealt 2 damage. Yeah, I don't know. That's a mystery for another time. Let's focus on bomb cascades. Does the spark trap fire start the bomb fire? It's the physical damage that gets the iframes. You might be right, honestly. Yeah, maybe that's why rock dogs act so weirdly with spark traps. Maybe we're misinterpreting which damage type is negated. Maybe you're only taking the fire damage and not the physical damage from the spark trap. And the fire damage is what inflicts the stun, but the physical damage inflicts the knockback, and so rock dogs take the knockback but not the stun because this game is badly programmed. That's my speculation for that. Maybe we can look into that later. For now, let's focus on this. So the next thing that I wanted to look into, bomb cascades. I'm going to set myself back to God mode. Have I answered all the questions about bomb boxes and bomb bags? Can we move on to bomb cascades? Because I want to see how that works. I'm going to hydrate for a moment here. There's no shot that we're getting to looking at apples today. I got distracted by giant clams and bombs. Your questions are answered. Alright, but we have so many new questions as a result of this. Alright, so the usual bomb cascade. For a normal person, you'd place a bomb like maybe like 4 or 5 per second. With different timings. Something like that. That's what you would normally do for a bomb cascade. So let's go look at these bombs and analyze them. 6478. I need to set up a better way to see more of these at once. Why is it doing that? Why does the column change size? Is it like locked by this type column? I'll have to look into changing the UI to make that not happen. It's annoying because these plus and minus buttons keep moving out from under my cursor. Alright, so let's see here. Anyways, we have a bunch of bombs on various idle counters. The first one that's going to explode is this one. So let's just go ahead and watch it for a little while. Pay attention to this here. Get to Apple in the next 2 hours. I'm not going to be streaming for 2 more hours, I think. The thing is, Apples are going to take like at least 2 hours to look into probably, so I don't think I want to do that one because I've already been streaming for 7 hours today. So Apple's once again getting delayed until later. Alright, so the first bomb just exploded, and now this explosion hit the other 3 bombs. So what do we got here? We have 147, 46, and 45. I think this is how the devs made bomb cascades happen. Each sequential bomb, like in entity ID order, each sequential bomb that was involved in the cascade has a slightly lower idle counter. And if you're thinking the same thing I am about what happens if you blow up 150 bombs, we'll get to that. But let's start with a reasonable case first. So, let's see. Can I look at man-trap invisible entities? That might also take a while, honestly. Let's see how I feel after the bomb cascade science. And I think I had another couple like easy low-hanging fruit to look into. I'm not sure. Man-trap invisibility is also potentially a rabbit hole. Yeah, we'll look at 150 bomb, but let's stay focused on this for now, and then I'll decide what I feel like doing, because I've already been talking for 7 hours. My throat's starting to hurt, so I don't know how long I'm going to hold out here. We have each of these bombs. The 3 remaining ones have sequentially lower idle counters. So I'm expecting nothing to happen until this bomb ticks up to 150. There it goes. And let's see. The other one, we have 149 and 148. So what is going to happen now? We have an explosion entity that is going to process on the next frame. We have 2 bombs left. What is going to happen to them? Is the 149 bomb going to explode? Yes, it is. It exploded and then it got set to 147, but it's still going to despawn at the end of this frame. The last bomb in the cascade got set back to 146. But it's going to get hit by the explosion. And get set to 147, which would have happened anyways. And then it's going to explode on this frame. So this is what the bomb cascade looked like here. It's not like even a smooth cascade. It actually just kind of... One went off, then these 2 went off like right next to each other. And then the last bomb just kind of like got shot off over here and then blew up. So they're not like very clean looking is what I'm getting at here. Which is kind of weird. I actually hadn't thought that through. Do other entities cause subsequent bombs to get +1? I highly doubt it. So let's do this now. I'm gonna spawn an entity in the midst of this. Alright, there are 6 bombs in this corner right now. Spawn a caveman. Good, he's facing left. Need to make sure he doesn't pick him up though, so let me move him a little bit. Don't worry, buddy. It'll all be over soon. There there we go. Alright, so let's see what happens to all the other ones on this frame. 6491. It's possible, actually, that the caveman being at the end of the explosion... I'm going to spawn another one because this guy was at the end anyway, so if he had any influence on it, it wouldn't have mattered. Alright, so these bombs all got the same exact velocity. So that bomb blew up. I think we're going to see a second one go off on the next frame. Now we can check and see what happened here. So let's go look at our remaining bombs and see what happened. 6492. What's the last one in the stack? Alright, here we are. So we have 44, 45, 46, and 47. That doesn't look like the caveman had any impact on the outcome of that. But I guess if I would have had to spawn the caveman earlier... I don't know, it's a very bizarre thing to matter. Let's see, I was mostly interested in just seeing what the shape of the cascade would look like. Yeah, that's weird. They blow up in pairs. That's very interesting looking. They blow up in pairs is what happens. Like, you can see the remainder of it. And that's just a result of the bombs, like, constantly setting each other's idle counters. Huh. Like, this makes sense. Like, in my head, it's just unintuitive. You wouldn't think that it does that initially. But they blow up in pairs just due to the way that the counters are reset and incrementing at the same time. So presumably, I'm going to place a shitload of bombs now. Let's see how this one looks. Alright, those are frame perfect as well. Like one bomb every 2 frames. 2 go off, and it resets the rest of the bunch. 2 go off, resets, 2 go off, resets, and you can actually see there's like a parabolic arc to the cascade. Oh, never mind, we lost it right there. These ones got launched upward for whatever reason, just because funny explosion physics. So yeah, it actually arced, and then they like kind of got shot upward after that. Huh. Well, that's neat looking. And that's a bomb cascade. But we're not done yet. So we have a couple things I want to test here. The first one is... what happens if you have 150 bombs in the same spot? So let's do it. Is that why the pitcher's mid-bomb skip takes 5? No, that's because you place them in a different spot. And it just happens to work anyway. You know, that's... Let's show that first, and then I'll go back to that. Because this is related to what we're talking about here. It's a different reason. Oh, nice. Imagine fixing your mods. Just fade that. Clear this to -1. We don't need this open right now anyways. Alright, I can show what's going on with that pretty quickly. Is this good message ever gonna fade? Is it fading? I think it's fading, just really, really fucking slowly. Oh, I turned it off. It wasn't fading at all. It was an illusion. Alright, here, this is on the subject of bomb cascades. So this is a classic situation. I would just close this. You find yourself wanting to save your funny onk, which I'm going to give myself now because it helps drive the point home. If you have the mitt, you have to do a different setup, and I am going to show exactly why that happens. So let's do the version without the mitt. And the setup that you should use for this is line yourself up with this wall here, hold down, and I'm going to do this in slow motion. You place 4 bombs kind of quickly. It's not like too tight, but I'm going to place one like every 5 or 10 frames. You place 4 bombs like that. They will all line up in that exact spot. You run over here. Climb down. I don't know why people like freak out about this shit and stand on the floor. Literally right here is where you need to be. You need to be like sitting right at this spot, and then you need to climb up before this powder keg hits like a lion trap or something there. That's all you really have to avoid. If there's no lion trap here, you can literally just sit here and you'll be fine. This powder keg will not hit this floor because this floor is going to be gone when these bombs start going off. People always like freak out about this for some reason and go all the way down to the bottom. You don't have to. There's no reason to. You just need to be low enough not to get hit by the bomb cascade. I'm gonna turn God mode off for this, just in case I do get hit by something. And this is what is going on during this skip. You can see the bombs didn't hit me. So we get the double there, and then the last one detonates right here and takes out these 4 tiles. Just barely. It's actually really hard to see this. Let me zoom the camera in even more. I need to detach it as well. Unfocus. Move the position up. All right, so oh man, I didn't realize it was that precise. Actually, let me zoom in even more. Enhance. All right, chat, so here's what's going on. This is the platform right here. It's in the ring. It's hard to see this because everything is red, but this ring that I'm tracing with my cursor is the bomb explosion. It hits this, and just fucking barely hits like a tiny little pixel. I actually didn't know it was this close, Grid. Good idea. Just barely hits this little pixel right here of this platform. Like it is, let me get this shit out of the way. It is insanely tight, like how close this is. Why do I still have this up either? I actually don't need a task tool open anymore. Task Wizard, you have served your purpose. Thank you, Task Wizard. It's not quite floating point. Floating point precision, I showed on one of my streams what the float, like, unit of least precision is. It is unbelievably tiny. It is like a millionth of a tile. This here looks like maybe, let's see, what is this actually? It's like 100th. Yeah, this is about 100th, 1 or 200ths of a tile. The floating point precision's at like millionths. The thing that comes up more often is there is like a 5,000th buffer that some collision checks have in this game, and that tends to come up more often. The actual float precision, though, is way more precise than that. So the bomb explodes, it destroys all of these. We can zoom back out a little bit now. And drops those kegs, but doesn't destroy the kegs. That is the whole premise of this bug. Or not bug, really, it's an exploit. Yeah, set this back to the player now. I should have actually had a rope deployed here. I should still have time to grab it. So once you see that explosion go up, you need to climb back into it. There should have been a rope here. I fucked that up because I wasn't setting it up correctly. The rope here I just used to line up my setup. You can just do it from a rope on the right. This one is completely optional. And as long as I jump before the floor gets taken out from under me, like right now, I can grab the rope so I can save it. And that's how this works. So you can see I would have died if I had stayed down there, but you only have to hang out like to here-ish, and then you have a fairly long amount of time to start climbing up your rope to get up to the ceiling. And since you normalized your setup by pressing your face into this tile, which will always be exactly the same, and then you deploy the 4 bombs, they will always be in the exact same position, they will cascade in the exact same way, because unlike in Spelunky HD, your frame rate or your GPU or whatever doesn't affect how bomb cascades work, or like whether you can do paste bombs or anything like that. We'll look into paste bombs in a little bit, but the point is they're consistent in Spelunky 2. And then after that, the cascade gets, the idol got moved, so all the powder kegs start to explode, but the 2 next to you aren't there anymore, so you can just hang out here. And then you're fine. And then you have to figure out how to actually get out of this situation, which you can try to go for that, but yeah, I'm dead. That's why I gave myself the yonk. Normally you would have an item or like another rope in a better position, or you could deploy a rope to like hang lower down. Let's show what that looks like with the mitt. Alright, so if you either don't know any better, and or you're not paying attention and don't realize you have the mitt, you would be mistaken and you would do this setup here. Now there's a key point here. These bombs are further to the right than they're supposed to be. So everything will look fine, but they're actually not in the correct spot. The bombs need to be over here. They should have bumped the idol a little bit, but they're like I think about half a tile further to the right. So it should be fairly obvious already why this isn't going to work, but let's run it through anyways. This time we don't have to worry about a lion trap, so we can actually stay down here way fucking longer. We'll be completely safe. Like, just hang out around this spot. There they go. And that is what happens if you fuck up and don't remember that you have the mitt. These 3 tiles got destroyed, this one did not, because the bombs were too far to the right and they missed. And the result of this is only one of the floors comes down. Or one of the powder kegs. And then you're left with this one above your head, and you're just sad, wondering where your life went wrong because you forgot that you had the mitt. I have God mode on, so I'll survive this one. And you would have lost your Ankh there. That is why the mitt ruins this skip. Or this trick, rather, because your bombs wind up in a different spot. Now, you might be wondering, Cosine, how do you do this correctly with the mitt? Is there a setup for it? And there is. So let's go ahead and do that. There's a couple ways you can do this, really. So back to Tide Pool. I don't want to do this in the dark level. Alright, so we're back down here again. My god, there's 1,000 fucking lion traps every single time. Alright, so for the mitt setup, if I recall correctly, because I actually don't use this setup, I'll show the one that I use later. You want to rope here. I guess you can also rope against the ceiling. It'll have the same effects. You probably should rope against the ceiling. It'll give you more rope to play with later. But you want to set it up like this, I believe. And then you need to do 5 bombs to get a little bit more distance. And this kind of ties back into the fact that the bombs explode in pairs. That 5th bomb is only going to be slightly further to the right than the original ones. Yeah, the mid lineup works. It's the same one from Olmec to shift your like offset a little bit. Like, this might look familiar, and it's because for the Olmec strat, you would do the same kind of strategy. But with the mid, you just set it up like a little bit differently. Well, I think with Olmec, actually, you whip it, so maybe it's not quite the same, but it happens to work out. It moves you over just the correct distance for the 5 bombs to work. So yeah, I take that back, actually. It's not the same thing as Olmec, because you don't let the bombs during this setup, so pretend I didn't say that. Here's how you do it with the mitt. You normalize yourself on this rope, and then you place 5 bombs. Not super precise, but if you place them too slowly, they will eventually bump each other. So you do need to, like, mash the button reasonably well. If you place 6 bombs, you're fucked, so only place 5. And again, I should be completely safe, like, right about here in the middle of this tile. And there they go. So remember how the bombs explode in pairs? We have 5 now, so we have a single bomb, a pair. That's where bomb number 4 would have gone off, which didn't hit this platform, but bomb number 5, the last one in this pair, was just far enough to hit this, but not high up enough to set off any of the powder kegs, or to destroy the tiles in between them, though that wouldn't have mattered. That is why the 5 bomb mid strat works correctly. It's because you place the bombs too far to the left, but then the 5th bomb is just far enough to the right due to the way bomb cascades explode in pairs to allow you to do this. And then you climb back up the rope, and it's the exact same thing as before. You use your jetpack or Vlad's cape or your co-op idiots to get out of the level for you. Or you use a funny streamer door and you avoid all this. So this is a jape room. If you see this yellow starfish, that means this is a jape room, and there's just gonna be like a penis room with a dead caveman or something in it. If you ever see that star, do not bomb the door. Now I'm gonna show you all the other strat for the mid setup that I literally never see anybody use for some reason, and it's super obvious. And it doesn't need a rope, is the key point of it. So, well, it's not super obvious, but it's what I always do. So let's go back to 4-3 and set this up again. And that's the magic of visual aids. So you might remember the dark ages of Spelunky. Before we knew about this lineup here, where people said, oh, just put the Spelunker's hand needs to be aligned in this specific way. And I don't understand why, because we have a perfectly good visual aid right over here. So I have no idea why, like, the position of the Spelunker's hand was the thing that people went to with that strategy, when you could literally just use the visuals on this powder keg on the left side of your screen, and you get a way more precise effect that is not dependent on your character's skin. So there's two setups for this. We have the mitt right now, so I'm going to show you the mitt setup. You want to align yourself to this little, like, ear-looking thing that's protruding off the side of the powder keg. So, like, right about there is what you want to align your camera to. I don't know exactly what the boundaries are for it. So, like, it's conceivable that you could be a little too far to one side or the other, but this should use 4 bombs. And that's the 4 bomb setup. That said, you can use the ceiling tile that was right here, so there's no reason to do that particular setup if you don't have the mitt, but that is the 4 bomb setup with the mitt that I just showed you. So again, I'll go back in and show that a second time. This is the mitt setup with 4 bombs, and it's a visual aid. You don't have a normalized setup, but it's 4 bombs and 1 rope to perform the strat instead. Again, no one ever suggested doing this. Like, the strategy has always just been align your character's hand to some point on the pedestal. But let me set it up again for you. So you rope here. I want to get, like, there we go. I want, like, again, I call it the ear, the little, like, splotch of paint. I want the edge of the screen to cut right through that, like, the center of that little splotch of paint. And then this is what it would look like as far as your character's hand placement is concerned. I think the thing that people usually said was, like, have the character's hand right next to that little, like, bone shard or something. But you don't have to do any of that. It's fairly consistent. Just, like, center yourself in the middle of that, and there's a little bit of leeway on either side. I'm gonna do it one more time, and I'm gonna check the leeway. Resolution shouldn't affect this because I think this game letterboxes if it's not 16 by 9. If anybody has a widescreen, like, you have black bars, right? If you try to full screen this game, you get black bars on the left and the right side of your screen. Am I correct? Like, that would be for like an ultra wide. I think you get black bars on the right and the left side. And if you're running a 16 by 10, I'm pretty sure you get bars on the top and the bottom. Several 1 bomb setups that are aligned. I have actually done the 1 bomb, 1 rope strat a single time. I tried it once and I got it first try, and I have never attempted to do it again. But this stream is not about this. There is a video all about doing skips for this. I don't remember if it was Gugabo or somebody else who made it. I think it might have actually been someone else. But either way, there is a video about doing these skips. I just wanted to show you a strategy that I never see anybody mention, is just use a visual aid on those powder kegs. And I think your resolution will always work, because I think this game gets letterboxed if there's any, like, extra resolution. So I don't think it's ever cut off, and I don't think you ever get to see more than you normally should. I believe it's capped to 16 by 9 with black bars on the sides or the top and bottom. You made a low effort one for the main casual ones. You just go to the YouTubes and search for that. I'm not going to do that for the rest of the stream here. I just wanted to show the cascading, because what I'm going to show you now is how lenient my particular strategy is. So we can see if I'm even, like, in a good spot. We want the last bomb to go off, like, basically dead center of my visual aid to give you, like, as much space as possible. So let's see, what's my X position? 2 point. We're just going to normalize it to that. All right, so this is roughly where I would normally do this. All right, with frame advance, let's see where the last bomb lines up to see if I should make any corrections. Okay, I nailed it. Yep, I did some trial and error. This was, like, back in the darker ages of, like, just Spelunky didn't have as many nice features as it used to have. But you can see the center point for the last explosion here compared to the terrain grid. This bomb right here, you can see it is off by about 0.5 units. So this is pretty close to actually being, like, optimal, having it right in the center, so you could have a little leeway in either direction. And if we zoom back out and see how precise it is, it looks like you have roughly 0.1 units to the left or the right for this to work. Maybe a little bit a little bit further to the right would be preferable. I have about 0.1 here, and I think I have like 0.05 or something here. It's hard to tell. So I think the lesson from what I'm showing here is you probably want to bias yourself further to the right. You want like a couple pixels of the ear to be visible on your screen. So let's do that again from what I predict is a better position. Alright, so same thing as before. Fix the camera. So this, in theory, is going to be good. You can see, you might not even be able to see this if you're on like mobile, but I have like maybe 2 pixels of the ear visible on my screen right now. Yeah, and that still works. So that's what I would recommend going for, is like just have a tiny little bit of that thing visible on your screen, because otherwise you risk being too far to the left with your bomb cascade and it won't work. And then the last thing I'm going to show, which isn't terribly useful, but I'm gonna show it anyways. This is the old strat before we found the normalized ledge setup, because I also used a visual aid for this strat before we found the normalized setup. So again, just do this. Just line yourself up with this. It'll work 100% of the time. But just for history's sake, the old setup was this right here. Let me get rid of my mitt real quick. I don't know if Dragu fixed the crashes. I'm scared at this point, so I'm just going to remove them like this. Let's see, type item, power up, pictures mitt. There we go, that definitely doesn't crash. So my old visual aid was this little mole, like underneath its nose, like this little splotch in the paint. That was the visual aid if you didn't have the mitt that I used. And I'm curious how precise it was. So I'm gonna try to line it up and I'm just gonna see where that is. You want the edge of the screen running right through the middle of that mole. It's a little hard to do. There we go. Right through the dead center of that mole. Let's see what that looks like. This is more of a curiosity. This is a legacy strategy that you don't have any reason to actually use anymore, because we have one that's always consistent. But it's always fun to look back on these things, because I'm actually wondering now, how close was that? There it goes. And the last bomb, oh, that one's even better. That's spot on. If the edge of your screen was in the middle of that little mole on the powder keg, that was like just dead center. About as perfect as you could get it with that lineup. So there you go, folks. That is my recommended like mitt setup anyways. Not the one I just showed, but the one I was showing off before that. Any questions about that? We have at least one more thing, actually 2 more things to test with bomb cascading here, but any questions about how that cascade works? Because this is a very good application for bomb cascades. And understanding why it works and why it fails is sometimes useful, especially for anybody trying to innovate and find a new strategy. And maybe somebody will find like a better mid strat, but in any case, I just showed you the like visual lineup for using 4 bombs with the pitcher's mitt. So hopefully that was useful to somebody. Nice funny streamer door. If there's no questions, we are going to place 150 bombs, and we're going to see what happens when we cascade them. Alright, no questions. Let's go to Olmec, because that's probably a good place to do this. Do this in the bottom. I think the bombs are going to like bounce off the ceiling, but you know, that'll just make it look silly. Alright. 4. 150. Spawn entity. Ant type item bomb. I think it's... I always forget the syntax. Is it layered? It's position first. I know that. Is it layer or velocity next? I can just put in 0 for all of them because front layer is also 0. Alright, so let's see what happens with these. They're all going to go off on the same frame, and I'm thinking this is just going to be one colossal explosion. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to need to spawn these all in again, and I'm going to need to offset their timers slightly. Actually, I only need one to go off early now that I think about it. Yeah, I can just set them all the same, but I need just one to go off early. So let's just set one of them to go off a little bit earlier than the others. So let's see, what is the entity ID of the first bomb? 8486 probably? Because this one is going to set all of the other timers to whatever it would do normally. Yeah, okay, this is the first bomb in the stack, so... Is that the one I've selected? Yes, it is. Alright. So set the idle counter to just something that's going to blow up a little bit sooner than all the other ones. This is going to be anticlimactic. Look, maybe it'll be really cool. Here it goes. Alright, so all of these other bombs just got hit and had their fuses set. So let's see what they got set to. Let me open up my toolbox thing again. It's under the chat. Just put it over here. Alright, so the next bomb in the sequence, 8487. So what have we got here? 7, 6, 5, 4. It keeps going. Look at the idle counter, chat, as I go up the bombs. Like, look at what it's setting them to. All the way down to... Huh, do I need to place more bombs? We got it all the way down to 0. I wonder if I need to place like a few extra bombs to see if it'll go negative, because I don't think we tested the thing that I was interested in. Fiddling with the fuse. Yeah, you were right. The first one was going to be anticlimactic. They were all going to blow up on the same frame and make a loud noise, but I realized that. So now we have the fuse cascade. I'm trying to think what's going to happen here. I think this is just going to be a huge fucking bomb cascade, I think. So let's let this play out, and then we'll do it with like 160 bombs next time. There they go. They're fucking gone. Yep, they just explode in pairs, and they kind of like deflect in weird directions because the physics engine is funny. Yep, okay, they're going back up. Nope, we're going back down. I don't understand this. I don't have an explanation for like why they just sort of go in a different direction suddenly. I honestly do not know what is causing them to do that. Like, I think the reason Cascades always go up and right is because the default, like, knockback direction is just right. Like, if they're stacked in the exact same coordinates and they blow up, the bomb on top of them will get knocked to the right, just by default. You could get a bomb cascade to the left, I think, if you would initialize the explosion in a leftward direction, where each bomb is slightly further to the left than the one before it. But if you just stack them all in the same spot, they're always going to go to the right because of reasons. I just don't know why they're going up and down. The force from the pressure wave deflect. I'm sorry, what game do you think you're playing here? You think this game has actual physics? Like, what is causing them to go down is the question. Oh, you know what? I think they just hit that corner. I think we just saw it happen. One of the bombs hit the corner of the tile before it deactivated it, so it deflected downward. Then they go back up. And I think this has something to do with proximity to the explosion. I think when you're closer to the origin point of an explosion, the game prefers to knock things upward as opposed to away from the explosion. I think that's what's going on here. I don't know the exact ranges for this mechanic. And then they hit the wall. Let's see what they do now. Yeah, now they're going to deflect to the left because each successive explosion is going to send them further that way. I don't know how many bombs we have left here. I think we're getting pretty close to the end of the chain. These guys might have hit the wall. Yeah, those guys just hit the wall, so the explosion goes back over to the right. Then we go back up to the left. They're going to hit Olmec, possibly. Oh, just barely missed Olmec. And they hit the ceiling. And they appear to have been far away enough to get deflected downward. With infinite bombs, we could play the TBD logo. Just spawn a new bomb on the Cascade like every few frames. I could probably do that, actually. I kind of want to do that now. Let's do the 160 bombs to see like how the timer breaks, and then I'm going to make a script that can do that. I'm going to spawn a new bomb at the end of the Cascade, like every frame, or like every couple frames whenever they blow up. And I'm just going to get it, like, let it run forever. And they hit a fucking fireworks. They hit a bomb box, or a bomb bag at the end of it. There was a bomb bag in that crate, so at the very end of it, we just got like a little fireworks explosion. That is like, that is perfect. I could not have asked for that to like go any smoother than that. That is beautiful. True art. Alright, let's make it worse now. Let's do 160. So let me reload the level. The snake lived. The snake is traumatized by what just happened there. Since we know they go up, let's do it all the way down from this layer. Alright, so we're gonna spawn 160 of these, and then I'll set the first one to have a different timer. So it'll be about the same duration for the explosion. Alright, so there they are. What's the idea of the first one? 7912. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, that's. I think maybe the grid snap is the reason why I don't like to do that. Drago, I think if you have grid snapping enabled and you touch an entity, even if you don't move it a pixel, it seems to move it anyways. Let me just delete that particular one. Maybe that's why I was afraid of doing that. Or maybe I moved it a pixel. Okay, I'm being extremely careful. I'm not moving my cursor. It is literally right there. It is not on my mouse pad. Yeah, I middle clicked that with my cursor, literally, like, my mouse is not on my mouse pad. I'm holding it up in the air, and the grid snap put it. Yeah, I wanted it to be on the grid. Well, I didn't. Why can't Overlunky read my mind is my question. Like, what even? There we go. All right, I turned off the grid snap, and that is probably going to work. So let's see how this cascades. I'm being unreasonable is what I'm doing right now. So idle counter. 48. I mean, I would prefer if I had to move the cursor a couple pixels to get the snap to kick in as well. But whatever, I think that's why I was like afraid of middle clicking on these. All right, so we have like 158 of these. So let me set the idle counter on this one to just blow up in a few frames. All right, what's the ID for this one? It is 7914. This is fitting music for what we're doing right now. Alright, so that one just blew up. And it's gone. 147. All the way down. Is it going to wrap? Did they test this? They didn't cap it! Let's fucking go! They didn't cap it! It's video games! They didn't fucking cap it. Is there a way to get the bomb out of the stack? I'm just thinking, like, is there a way to get that bomb out of this cascade? Like the ones that have that number. And just have a bomb that, like, never explodes. Yeah, this is Explodatorium from Shovel Knight. Because the thing is, this is gonna keep getting reset. Let me go to the very last one. They didn't fucking cap it. It just overflows, or underflows, I guess. Wait a minute. Oh, they explode instantly. It's unsigned. They explode instantly. I think every single bomb that underflowed explodes instantly because in the game engine it's unsigned. So the test for whether or not it was greater than 150 just triggered on it and caused it to blow up. So no, we cannot actually get an infinite bomb by doing that. That is disappointing, but also extremely amusing that they didn't actually test that. To be fair, getting 160 bombs to all go off on about the same frame is an edge case, to say the least. But that's still very amusing. So what we just saw here is this explosion is like probably like 7 bombs that just went off on the same frame. And then I think from there our cascade continues normally. Interesting though. Very interesting to see that. Let's see. I want to focus the bomb. Let's watch this firsthand. 8063. All right, this one. Focus selected. All right. Let's go, kids. It's just a weird snake. If you could, like, yeah, if you could feed enough bombs into the pile with, like, 4 people with true crowns, maybe you could, like, get that to happen. God, that's so cool looking. Let's make an infinite one. You know what? No, we don't need to do this in Olmec. Let's do this in a different level. Let's go find a different level to do this in. Let's blow up the City of Gold. Because fuck this place. Start at the bottom. Alright, so let's see. How would we go about doing this? I need to set up a script that'll just kind of always guarantee that there are a couple bombs at the end of the cascade. Like with the same velocity and position as the ones that are already in it. Or I could spawn 1,000 bombs. The problem I'm seeing with this script is I'm wondering if the floating point precision differences are going to be an issue, because Lua uses doubles, and if I try to spawn a bomb with the same exact values, it will pass through Lua. Yeah, you're right, I can't use 1,000 bombs. So it will pass through the Lua engine, it'll get cast to a double, and then it'll get cast back to a float. And what I'm worried about here is that is going to cause the stack to jitter. I think let's try it anyways, but I think this is going to act weirdly. I don't know if this is going to act naturally or not, but let's spread up a script that can do this. So let's see, what do we need to do here? We need to do something on every frame. So I always hit semicolon for some reason when I'm doing that. We're probably going to want to spawn these on pre-update if I had to guess, so that'd be a good spot to do that. And what are the conditions for this? I think the condition for this is if we don't have enough bombs in the stack, then we need to find the highest bomb, like, entity ID. Let me cut this out real quick. Okay, let's see. What is... So I forget, does control work on this? Yeah, control does. Alright, so let's see. What do we want to do here? So I just kind of want to spawn a new bomb in when I don't have very many left. I don't want to, like, precisely time, like, which frame I spawn a bomb on, because maybe that won't work, and this will just be easier anyway. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to... Local bombs equals... Get entities by type. I know you're not supposed to use this one. It's deprecated. I don't care. I just want it to work, and I'm going to use bad programming practices. Alright, so we're going to get all our entities. That is going to return every bomb that currently exists. Somehow this game's console is better than DST. DST's fucking console's ass. Like, I didn't know how to write Lua when I messed around with that, but it was so crusty to use that thing. I just remember being frustrated with how that console worked. This is just using the, like, ImGUI? I think ImGUI is how you pronounce it. Whatever, it's using an image library that is free and is open source, and apparently it's better than whatever they came up with in Don't Starve. And this is just their multi-line text function. Alright, so anyways, if we have less than 5 bombs, then we want to spawn a bomb at the end of the stack. Just for sanity, so it doesn't crash. So this will make it stop if all the bombs are destroyed for whatever reason. I don't know if I could press tab, and I don't feel like risking it and losing all this, so... If we have some bombs, but it's less than 5, then we want to spawn a new bomb at the end of the stack. That'll get hit by the cascade and hopefully continue it. So let's see here. Local end bomb equals... Alright, that'll get us the ID of the last one, so we want to get the entity. Getting those mods to work on DST. I honestly don't know how mods work on DST. It just is not something I ever took a foray into. I don't know if it's like a shitty API or what. I don't know if I'm spoiled by Spelunky or not, being like fairly consistent and reasonably well documented. Though I don't know why the liquid imposter functions aren't documented yet. It's just like commented out, or there's a no doc on them, but maybe they're just unstable, so they didn't want to publish those. Those are only for Spelunk Nautica and Randomizer, because I don't think any other mods use them. Well, except that one mod Dragon made for Hudson River or whatever. Anyways, let's see. So we got our last bomb, and we want to spawn a new bomb. So local new bomb equals get entity, spawn entity. I need to look up whether or not the layer is like the 3rd argument or the 5th argument here, because this actually matters now, so just give me a moment here. Spawn entity. The layer is the 3rd argument. Okay, and then it's the 2 velocity values. If this works on the first try, it'll be a miracle. Code never works on the first try. Alright, spawn entity. Type.item bomb. Hopefully this won't lag, because there's not going to be that many. I think this will perform reasonably well in this frame. You know, we could do this right. Get entities by... What is the syntax for this? Let's see, it's mask and then layer. Okay, we'll do layer up front. This will just reduce the lag a little bit, potentially. Hopefully. Alright, so anyways, we want to spawn a bomb. And we want to spawn the bomb at the position... I think I can use abs X, right? Yeah, I think I could do that. Because there's a chance that if, like, on the frame that they bounce off an object, they're parented to something. So I think I want to use the absolute value here. So we'll do that. Absolute, not absolute value, absolute position is what I should say. It's not, it doesn't do anything with, like, negation. Whatever, we'll see what happens here. You layer that front. And then the velocity. This one, I don't think there's a such thing as absolute velocity. Maybe there is. Actually, there is. I'm lazy, though, and I really don't... We should really do this right. Okay. Local X, Y, L equals get position. End bomb. I might not even need the end bomb entity. Local... Vx, Vy equals, yeah, I need to hydrate, I'll get that in mind. Get velocity. Here's your programming stream. Whoever asked for that earlier, here's your programming stream. This is it. Here. Hope you're enjoying this. L, Vx, Vy. Alright, we spawn a new bomb. I think this might be it. Let's see. Alright, what do we got here? So we have our callback. We get all the bombs, we check if we have the right number, we get the last bomb in the sequence, which will have the highest entity ID. We get its position and velocity. Then we spawn a new bomb. Which I actually don't need to get the new bomb, it looks like. We don't do anything with that anyway, so we can just get rid of this. It doesn't look like I need the end bomb either, so I can just do this. Oops. This is what I want to do. So I think I could just do that. Okay, I think this will work. I'm copying it just in case I like lose it or something. I've got it in a notepad file on the side. I think that'll work. Alright, let's see. Just a second here. I'm just adding indents to it so it's a little more readable off screen. Alright, will this work on the first try? Enter. Didn't work. I forgot a parenthesis. Where did I forget it? This one here. Now it'll work. Alright, second try. But it was just a syntax error, so let's see if it actually works or not. Alright, so what I'm expecting to happen here is if I place one bomb, I think it is going to spawn like 5 more on top of it, I think is what's going to happen. Let's see how that works. So let's do it frame by frame. I'm going to prime the system with this bomb here. Alright, it spawned. I saw it spawn the bombs. Alright. Camera. Let's see. Zoom this out a bit more. Let's get the whole level in frame. I'm gonna grab a rope as well to keep myself centered. Why is it so wiggly in here? Oh, it's the shockwaves from the bombs, that's why. This is not quite what I was going for with this. Alright, why do we reckon that they're doing that? What would be causing that feedback loop to happen? The score runners aren't jealous right now, it's just a giant 7. What would be causing it to do that? I'm trying to think. 7. Yeah, put your 7s in the chat. They're always going upward. I could add a little bit of fuzz to it to just get them going different directions. Let's try that. What do I want to do here? Well, make a level at every tile's bubble wrap. So it always says tiles to explode. I don't know how well that would perform. That'd be tedious. Manually reduce their Y position. I'm trying to think. I like to understand why things didn't work. So, like, the question is, why is this not working? Let's go ahead and actually watch it in slow motion and see what happens. So let me go ahead and spawn this in again. Interesting. What the fuck? Why did it, like, branch? That's some indestructible tiles. Well, I mean, that's what the ceiling is doing, but my question is, why is that happening? You know, they're not exploding in pairs. I wonder if I have, like... if just the timing on this is a little bit weird. Maybe I should only do this, like, every other frame. I wonder if this has something to do with how I initialize them. What would this normally look like? Normally they'd all be 1 frame apart. Unfortunately, we're going to do some guess and check here because I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I think it has to do with the number of bombs that I'm trying to keep in play while I do this. So we're going to tweak the script a little bit here. I'm going to change the number that has to be less than to 4, so it should only spawn a 4th bomb at a time. And I'm also going to only spawn them... well, let's see, actually. You know, let's just do 1 change at a time and see if that helps the problem. Let's start it off here. That's arguably worse. I wonder if I can I like get my own bomb to get picked? There we go. Yeah, now this is just worse. There's definitely something going on, like, within each frame that isn't simulating the same effect of having a shitload of bombs, each with, like, a slightly different offset. So what would happen normally when you cascade? So the whole cascade gets primed. And then like 2 go off like back to back. Could it have to do with where the next bomb is being spawned? I'm not sure. I'm putting them in the same spot. I wouldn't expect them to get stuck like this. But we never saw this happen when I just spawned like 150 bombs. God, this screen is just messed up. How do you set up the camera setting that just fits the width of the screen? Let's see. Smooth camera. I thought there's a way to do this. Is there a way to get the camera to fit the screen width? Am I just like a dumbass and I'm not seeing it, or is that just not a thing you can do? Or I guess the height actually is what I want. I want a height lock on the camera. Maybe this. Oh, that's better. That's a little bit closer. We can go with that. Auto, really? Is auto? No, auto is... Okay. Oh, okay. I had to go to the middle to get it to kick in. Okay. I don't know why it didn't automatically do that. Is there one for the height, or is it just the width is the only thing we have? Because we kind of can't see the whole level here. Or maybe add position by its velocity. You think it... Oh, you think it's something like that? No, you're not spitting words out of your ass. What is going on at the end of the frame here? Not one for height. Oh well. I'll get over it. Yeah, honestly, that might just work anyways, even if it's not, like, authentic. If I just add the velocity to put it a little bit further away than the previous one. Let's see if that does anything. There's no point to this. This is not even, like, science anymore. This is just me fucking around. Oh, they're faster. No, they still like the ceiling, though. Like, they really like the ceiling. They're not getting stuck in that corner, at least. I think I just need to add some RNG to, like, the direction that they spawn in. Not exactly an authentic screensaver logo, but probably better than what we got here. Your scientists can have some fun. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Fun isn't very scientific, but I mean, it is fun. Let's add a little RNG. Let's spice it up a bit. Let's see, how do you add RNG? Is it just... It's math.random? Yeah, just math.random. Oh my god. Holy shit, that's a high roll. Math.random rolls a number between 0 and 1. I almost got 1. There goes all my luck. That's all my jetpack luck for my next stream used on that math.random I just typed in chat, or in the console. X plus VX is the thing they forgot on the CO loops, and that's why it looks like crap. What, for the camera? Or are you talking about something else? Bombs usually look fine in the loop, don't they? Or you must be talking about something else? I know the camera in the loop sucks because they forgot to wrap it correctly. Teleports work fine, but like having camera velocity, it just snaps to the other side. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, though. All right. Anyways, what do we want to do here? So this didn't help. Maybe if I just like fudge it a little bit, like add the velocity, then add a math.random times like 0.5 or something. Let's try that. Let's see if that does anything interesting. Sometimes this is what you got to do to get something that feels good. So let's try that. Yeah, I didn't really perturb them very much. They still really like the fucking ceiling. Honestly, I don't know if I feel like that's doing anything right now. I need to make sure I'm clearing these callbacks after each one so I don't stack a couple of them. Maybe if we just bias it so that they're more likely to fall down, we can get something interesting to happen. Actually, oh, you know what? No, I'm just biasing them upward because I'm only adding. Yeah, I'm only adding. That's why it's doing that. Let's see here. I'm gonna roll this. We're gonna do something like this. That's what I think we want to do there. Yeah, otherwise I'm just adding. I'm only ever adding velocity to them with the random value, so of course they're gonna keep going up. Yeah, so that should give them like a 50-50 chance. And then just because they seem to really like going up on the y-axis, I'm gonna make them prefer to go downward just a little bit, just a smidge. Make it far away enough that being down makes them go down instead of up from the closeness. Oh, you're right, actually. Yeah, I wonder if that's like where this whole thing is going wrong. Though I still don't know what was causing them to stray weirdly that other time. Because yeah, this might be a situation where I'm not doing a whole lot to move them out of the way because of that go up when close mechanic that explosions seem to have. I'll see what happens. I love how I could just prime this system by just throwing a bomb. I still want to fucking go up. I don't know how much I want to dig into this. I don't know why this isn't like authentic, why this isn't behaving the same way as the like 150 bomb cascade I was doing. I think I need to go back to just to like the basics and see if we can figure this out. Take a couple more shots at this. Whatever, I'll just let that one die later. Alright, so how was this normally working? We were setting up a bomb cascade. Is this still my history? There it is. Alright, so we do like 150 of these because we know any more of those explode. Multiply velocity by 10. That'll just like get it clamped most likely. No, what I want to do here is understand why the original bomb cascade worked. As fun as it is to do guess and check, it's bad programming, and this is exactly why, because I have no idea why my current solution isn't working correctly. So instead of just guessing why it isn't working correctly, I'd like to figure out why it actually isn't working correctly. So let's, you know, idle counter equals 140. So let's try to understand why this has such a nice organic snake-like property to it. So 21, 7, 32. Well, we sure have been spawning a lot of entities, haven't we? Alright, let's see. Where is the last bomb in the stack and what is it doing right now? Alright, here we are. So what's going on with this particular situation is this stack of bombs, they all get hit at the same time. They all get their idle counters set, like, back down to this, like, sequentially decreasing value. And that is what is causing this to work correctly. Why did I break this? It'll just get destroyed by the bombs. That's what's causing this to work correctly, I think. It's the fact that the last bomb in the stack keeps having its idle counters set down. It gets up to 30... It gets up to 32, it goes down 2. It goes down 2. Down 2. There's a rhythm to it, and I think that rhythm is what is causing this to work. Having them all stacked on top of each other with this particular like 2-bomb rhythm is introducing enough chaos into the system that the cascade works like this. Spawn more bombs at a time. Well, I'm wondering if there's a specific timing. If I'm spawning a bomb at the wrong time, then I wonder if that's what's causing an issue. So like maybe when the bomb... I'm thinking maybe I spawn a bomb when the previous one is at 150. So like if any of the bombs in the stack are at 150, then spawn another bomb at the end of the stack. I think it might be what I want to do here. Because yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. We burn a bomb every 2 frames with this interaction. Well, what I'm trying to do is kind of like smoothly introduce a bomb into the stack at the correct time. I could spawn one every 2 frames as well. And the properties of these bombs is they're all getting the same exact velocity. So if I just stick another bomb on the end of the stack and leave its idle counter alone, it should, like, it should fall into place. But the cascade I'm making has like 3 bombs exploding at once, and that's definitely causing something weird to happen with the rhythm. I'll move this over here. It's behind chat anyways. Yeah, so one of the bombs explodes. Then the second one that ticked up to 150 also explodes. But then the one that was at 148 gets brought back down. So it takes it a couple frames. It gets to 150 and explodes again. And they just keep doing that. Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe I should just try to spawn a bomb in every time, like, one of them's at 150. Let's go back down to the bottom of the stack. This is important, chat. This is extremely important scientific research. So on the frame that 150 blew up, what if I were to throw a bomb in? So this one reaches 150. And then I would spawn a bomb in, so on this frame, it would get hit immediately. I think we're gonna try that. We're gonna try that. That feels like it might work better. But to keep knowing what the last entity was, well, I already know that. It's the last bomb in the ID sequence. So what I need to do is I just need to check if the first bomb is at 150, and then spawn one at the end. I think is what I need to do here. Well, I know what the first and the last bombs are. Those are the easy ones. Because luckily they're in entity ID order for the return value from this function, so that makes it particularly easy to do that. So first bomb, I'm typing it out in my thing here. I'll put it on the stream in a moment. Just give me a second here. So let's see, bombs. Yeah, we just want the first one. It'll just be faster if I type it out here. Alright, so if we have any bombs, and then we get the first one, and the last one. Don't think I actually care about the last bomb, really. Or about the entity itself. Alright, so first bomb entity. If first bomb entity dot idle counter equals 150, and I'm going to want to do this, yeah, pre-update is probably still fine. I'll show what I'm doing here before I like completely commit to it. Then we get the last bomb, we pick its position, we spawn another bomb on top of it with the exact same stats. So this is, I'm going to actually do this all in post-update. I think it might play a little bit nicer, but that shouldn't matter. So that'll always spawn a bomb in it. Not doing Apple. No, we're not doing Apple. It's too late. 8 hours. You don't have to worry about missing Apple. I need to do it like first thing. Like next time I see you on a stream. Yeah, good night. Apple will have to wait for another day. And so the only thing I could think here is what would happen if I spawned in one bomb? It would drop another one in immediately. Yeah, I need to like prime the stack, I think, with a few bombs in order to get this to work. But I can just make a bomb cascade to do that. See, now that's a natural snake. That's what we like to see. Yeah, let's go all the way back down here. Get rid of this asshole. Alright, so here's the function that I came up with. Get all the bombs. If there is more than one of them, so we don't error out here, then we get the first bomb, we get the entity, we check the idle counter. If it's exactly 150, we get the last bomb, and we spawn another one where the last bomb is located. And we do all this after the update has concluded. That's not quite what we wanted. That doesn't have the same rhythm to it. I'm running out of ideas here. That's not spawning them in pairs. That's just a single, like, explosion chain. I don't know. I don't know, I think I might just take the L on this one. I'm tired, and what I'm doing here has not been working. So instead, let's just spawn another 150 bombs and just call it good on that. It's a shame, really, that the idle counter bugs out after that and wraps around. Now, we tried that, Zap. That doesn't do anything interesting. They, like, all of the bombs that are over 150 blow up instantly because the counter underflows. Like, I could spawn 1,000 bombs here. There's going to be one insanely loud explosion, and then the rest of them are just not going to do anything interesting. Also, my computer's lagging now. So let's see. Let's get the first one. Fucking audio. Look at how many bombs just blew up at the start there. Jesus. And then it just goes back to about 150. I just broke the audio. It's gone. There's no sound. This isn't the stream bugging out or anything. There's no sound anymore. Setting off 1,000 explosions all in the same frame. Just deleted, like, the sound system. Oh no. Meant the if check. If it's greater than 148 instead of exact. The problem, this is something that I could solve if I wasn't tired after an 8-hour stream and I, like, sat down and, like, wrote it out to figure out what the exact sequence looks like. But I'm fucking tired. I don't see what checking greater than 149 is going to do here. I mean, just do it, I guess. Oh, you mean this? Greater than or equal to 149. This is the last one we're going to try here. I don't feel like this is going to work. It did something different. No, but it's still stuck on the ceiling. It's the same thing as before. It didn't get stuck in the corner this time, but they refuse to snake around is the problem. They're not doing the thing that they were doing earlier. They get stuck on the ceiling and then they just stay there forever. It's inorganic is the problem. And this could be what I was talking about with the Lua precision, causing them to be, like, a little bit, like, off to one side or a little bit off to the other side. Because these aren't exact, like, floating point values that we're messing with here. They're doubles, which just do not, like, round the same way, unfortunately. Yeah, I think we're gonna give up on that. We might need to end stream here. Did anyone have any quick questions that they wanted answered before the end of this? I don't know who was here earlier that had questions. I probably didn't get to everything. But this is a situation that I would have to just dig into later on my own. Maybe I'll figure it out off stream.